If true, this changes everything for the Toronto Blue Jays. During the game today, a shocking new report has dropped from an interesting reporter revealing some wild details as it pertains to Vladimir Guerrero Jr. and his future in Toronto. And this report changes the outlook as it reveals that a deal is imminent between the two sides. We're going to break that down, discuss the exact details, and discuss what it means going forward. But before we get into it, folks, if you're part of the percentage who aren't subscribed to the channel, this is the place to be for daily Jays content. Your guys' support has been unbelievable. Let's not waste any more time. Let's dive into this crazy report. As at the time of recording, this is kind of crazy. The Jays game is still underway. But in the middle of the game, breaking news drops. It's according to Mike Rodriguez, Vladdy and the Toronto Blue Jays are very close on an extension of more than $500 million. Now, again, there's a few different things to preface here. For one, this isn't Shadavidi. This isn't Ben Nicholson-Smith. It is Mike Rodriguez. However, there is a lot of things to take into account here. One, I had a video earlier today on Jon Heyman and how Jon Heyman said that they're going to ultimately get the deal done. We have Bob Nightingale saying they're going to get the deal done. And then Blair Barker today, a ton of different things. And then this drops from Mike Rodriguez. Now, Mike Rodriguez is very in tune, specifically with Dominican players. He's gotten the Ketel Marte extension right a couple days ago. He got the a suspension as well right a couple days ago. Like, he has been on fire lately. And he's also gotten some things right back in February, getting credited by Jeff Passan. So I do think that this is legit. I do ultimately think it's going to happen. And this is kind of crazy news because they're currently playing New York, where New York, the Mets fans cheered Vladimir Guerrero Jr. when they were introducing. And like Josh says here, Mike Rodriguez's legacy is on the line. But Mike Rodriguez has been a lot more reliable than guys like Hector Gomez. He's been very correct in the past. And I would assume this is going to break over the next day or two. Obviously, Vladdy is playing a game right now. I don't suspect he's going to get pulled from the game against the Mets in order to get extended. It's obviously never going to happen. But you think back to the video I had earlier today. Jon Heyman came out last night and said the belief remains that Vladdy and the Blue Jays will figure it out for close to $500 million. There's been so many rumblings about this specific deal at this specific number that either Mike Rodriguez is just, piggybacking that, or, I mean, he went as far as to say breaking news at this point, and they're very close to doing the deal here, and it is very exciting. And I'll dive into later in the video, like what my thoughts are on the actual number figure. Like I discussed in the video earlier today, $500 million would be, before deferrals, so it's going to end up being a $550-$600 million deal after deferrals. But a lot of things are happening here. There's just a ton of things. And I want to start with this regarding Mike Rodriguez. You can see this here from Vladimir. It's worth noting Mike Rodriguez got, like I showed now, that the Gerardo Perdomo, a deal right on the money, and the Ketel Marte extensions right before everybody else, whom are both Dominican. So is Vladdy. So there's a lot of reasons to believe that this is, legit. And ultimately, we won't know until somebody comes out and confirms it. Surely someone on the Blue Jays side, if a deal is close, should have it here shortly. But Mike Rodriguez has been right on the money. And like I showed you with the Geraldo Perdomo deal, that one right on the money with the exact amount. He also had a suspension as well. And of course, he had the Ketel Marte contract. There's so many things that he's gotten right. I'm kind of leaning towards the fact that this is legit. Now, if it is legit, boy, oh boy, is that a big payday for Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Now, obviously, heading into today's game, through 7 games, he has a 624 OPS. The Jays are off to a hot start, and of course, hopefully that can continue. They're down against the Mets right now at the time of recording. But regardless of that, this is a hefty amount of money. Now, all offseason, the conversation around Vladdy was how February 18th was the deadline. We think back to that deadline, how much Vladdy wanted. We had an article drop from Shadavidi after the deadline had passed saying that Vladdy was looking for around $500 million with no deferrals because he doesn't want deferrals. And the Jays were at 450 with no deferrals. So it seems like if you put all these reports together, that this number that keeps getting revealed, keeps getting leaked here from multiple reporters of $500 million is the number that is that's going to get the job done. And you pair that with the fact that he's gotten a bunch of things right in the past. You pair it with Jon Heyman's report yesterday, and as much as you want to hate Jon Heyman or not, he's been the most reliable reporter aside from Jeff Passan this offseason for moves. And for him to come out and say this, the belief remains. That is kind of his way of saying he thinks the deal is going to get done, of course. And I said that in today's video. For this to drop from Mike Rodriguez, who I don't think he would put this into the universe unless he was very, very confident that a deal was going to get done between the two sides. Because he knows a tweet like this is going to blow up, obviously, right? Because there's so many Jays fans out there who want Vladdy extended. It has implications not only on the Blue Jays, but on the Mets plans in the offseason, the Red Sox plans in the offseason, all these different things. And for him to come out and tweet this, he would have to be extremely confident. And now let's rewind to a couple weeks ago. You have Bob Nightingale here. He recently announced in an article The Jays are inching closer on a deal with Vladdy. That will be 14 to 15 years, worth more than $500 million. The exact quote was that they're inching closer to working the deal, likely a 14 or 15-year deal worth $500 million. So you go through all this, and the fact that, again, $500 million is a crazy amount of money, but all these different reports are saying the exact same thing, from John Heyman, from Bob Nightingale, from Schneider, from Ben Nicholson-Smith. You pair that with the fact that he just came out 18 minutes ago, as of the time of recording, and said, hey, he's closing in an extension worth $500 million. It is crazy, right? And again, he's gotten things right in the past. Now, also another thing to note, in the Blair and Barker show today, Jeff Blair came out and said the Jays will probably give him more than $500 million. I don't know why they are waiting, but I also know they are at their quietest when they are close to getting something done. And it has been very quiet surrounding the Vladdy situation as it pertains to the Blue Jays side. We haven't heard anything from guys like Keegan Matheson, from Ben Nicholson-Smith, Shai Davidi, Arden, any of those guys, right? We haven't heard reports that a deal is inching closer. Now, I think if a deal is going to get done, it could get done as soon as tonight, if Mike is right. Usually with these deals, including the one where he's gotten, of course, the Ketel Marte extension, right? All these different things usually happens a few hours after. And of course, I don't think they're going to announce it, something of this magnitude. I don't think they're going to announce it during the game, something of this magnitude. But what they could end up doing is, of course, announcing it later tonight. But again, his legacy is on the line. Now, as it pertains to the actual contract, you see this here from Thomas Hall. The irony would speak for itself if Vladdy signed a long-term extension with all the Blue Jays are in Queens visiting the Mets, rooting for the storyline on this one. It would be poetic. It would be great now, especially with the way the season has started. Obviously, Vladdy's off to a pretty slow start here, but he, historically is a bit of a slow starter. But not only that, he'll be fine. However, $500 million, and I'm curious to see what you guys think. Do you think that that's a number, again, let's assume that there's no deferrals here, that's a number that the Jays should just say, screw it, we'll give him that amount of money? Or do you think that's more so an overpay for a first baseman? Because I know a lot of fans have started to turn their thoughts a little bit away from, hey, this is a very good deal, the Jays should just do whatever it takes to get done, all these different things. And we started to go back into the mindset of, okay, maybe we should be realistic. Is this worth the amount of money? Does this make sense from the Jays' perspective? All these different things. And clearly, their evaluations, the Toronto Blue Jays, that is, they think he's worth the money. Now, whether that be through jersey sales, having, the energy there. We know Mark Shapiro came out half recently and said they were very confident. That's another thing. Mark Shapiro, Ross Atkins, they both came out before opening day and said they were very confident a deal is going to get done. And we know that I think it was Jim Bowden came out. Came out before opening day and said the Jays almost got a deal done with Vladdy. They offered him a new thing and didn't get extension. So clearly they're in conversation. All signs are pointing to that. And if this specific report is true, changes absolutely everything for the Toronto Blue Jays. And hopefully that it is true. They can get the deal done and they can get rid of this distraction. Then maybe even focus on extending Bichette, who's off to a fantastic start this season. And I also think that the extension would help put Vladdy to rest a little bit and help him lock into the season, get back to that, 900 to 1,000 OPS that we know that he's very capable of. But that'll wrap it up. Let me know down below what your thoughts are. Crazy things are happening. Hopefully the Jays take care of business today. We'll keep you up to date with all the latest news. Probably have another video later today. Thank you guys for watching. See you later.